All right. All right. I think I got it. I think it's looking good. I think we set it up correctly. Hello, folks. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Good evening. Good afternoon. Everyone getting in here early. Yeah. I know I need to start actually scheduling this stuff out so y'all can actually catch it when I like stream instead of it being just like out of the blue. It's like, oh snap, he's streaming. But as per usual today, I have some more stuff I need to edit and go ahead and get out to my couples. My wedding season is basically over at this point. Obviously, a lot of people have rescheduled because of our current situation. But I do have a couple of small weddings left. I have one actually this weekend. And yeah, I want to get all my editing done first so I can go ahead and finish that last wedding and then be done with it. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. This was actually a wedding that I outsourced to the image salon, and unfortunately, they didn't do a great job this time. Normally they do pretty good, but I don't know what happened this time. But yeah, the white balance is just like off. Thank you for that sub. So I pretty much have to go through now and just like redo everything. Not redoing it because they've already put my preset on there, but I have to go through and make sure the white balance is where I want it to be. Which is a little annoying, but you know, whatever. It gave me the time to work on other stuff while they were editing it, so I'm cool with it. If you have anything to give away, send them to Turkey. I wish I had stuff to give away, but I don't. I don't, y'all. I'm sorry. Actually, I think I'm gonna black and white this one. So basically, all these photos have been edited. I'm just cleaning them up at this point. I also have another wedding that I need to cull as well. Which, actually, I'm not even sure if it's in this this catalog. It is, yeah. I have another wedding I need to cull. I thought they were good before the edit. Yeah, it's just the white balance is off just a little bit. And again, that stuff is subjective. So like, I'm not like mad at the image salon or anything, but it is a little unfortunate when you get the photos back and you're just like, this is not what I was looking for. Oh, I got myself all weird in the frame. So yeah, just a little quick cleanup. And this is fine for me too, because they charge extra if you want to get photos black and whited. And I normally just don't do that. So what I'll do is come in, make sure all the photos are up to my standard, and then black and white some of them. So cleaning up the white balance is not really, it's not like the end of the world. When you send them the pics for editing, you call them first or you trust them enough. So basically the way it works is with the image salon, you get assigned a specific editor. So when you first sign up for them, first like a onboarding person will come on and they'll walk you through the process. You'll send them over your presets or however you like to edit. You'll send them some sample photos. They'll edit those photos and then you give feedback and they kind of go from there and you talk about your style and how you like to edit and things. And then from there, they assign you an actual editor, and then you work from there. So the cool thing is, at least, is when I give my feedback, I can tell her like, hey, you know, I like my photos a little bit more cool, or I like my photos a little bit more heavy on the magenta, and then we'll kind of adjust from there. So the feedback for this wedding and another one was like lower, so now she's like, oh no, so we'll probably go back and readjust again. This photo was like, I wonder if he'll show it. Yeah, I blew this photo all the way out because I had my 50 f1 on, and I had it at f1, and it was the groom's mom was leaving, but it was just like out of the blue. I didn't even know it was happening, so I went to catch it and didn't have enough time to switch my settings. So it's, you know, it's livable. You can tell that it was blown out, but it's doable. Most of the time, your clients aren't going to be like, "Arr." But yeah, it's unfortunate when that happens. I hate it so much. How do you decide when to make a photo black and white as opposed to color? Honestly, for me, it's like the feel of the photo. I don't know. Some photos just feel more like a black and white to me. Also, obviously, if the focus was missed just a tad, I'll usually black and white it too. That's kind of like a photographer's secret. You're like, haha, it's artsy now. You missed the focus. No, it looks like film. But yeah, I usually try not to black and white too many photos. Yeah, you see how everything's just, it's too orange. It's just like the little bit, like this is way too warm. Like this white tarp shouldn't be looking that orange to me. It should be like here. And I get that he's a little blue cast now, but I don't know, that looks more natural to me. Yeah, this too, everything, it's just so orange. And the little secret tip, yeah. Most photographers will do it too. That's like the save your photo. They're like, oh no, the photo was bad. Black and white. You're like, yeah. So I'm hoping I don't have issues like I had last stream where like my iTunes was giving out and all that. So we'll see what happens. My whole computer seems to be. Photos like this too where the cropping is a little weird. I don't know. It just works better in black and white. Have you used X Transformer convert Fuji? I have not, actually. I just usually import directly into Lightroom. Uh-oh, yep, it's happening already. Yo, why? My music! This was never a problem before. Oh no, it's playing, okay. Can hang for a bit, and then meetings, and then yep, and then the Apple event, can't miss that. I'm pretty much gonna stream up until the Apple event, and that's pretty much it. So these were the planners for this wedding. They just wanted a picture, so I took one for them real quick. Yeah, I am a little sad though that I have to go through and like, yeah, my 23 hasn't been hitting, y'all. I don't know what's wrong with it. But yeah, this photo is just way too orange. Like, I don't know what the editor was doing. Make some tutorials on your work style presets. Yeah, I was just talking to someone about that yesterday. Let's just sync that across the board. What do you think about the Viltrox 85? I haven't had a chance to use any of the Viltrox stuff, but they look like they're pretty good. I'll have to kind of see them in action personally, but I've never used them. Have you used Capture One before or tried it? I've tried it, and honestly, like, it's great. It feels so slow. It feels like such a slow program. Yeah, out of the 23, I feel like it missed all of these. It's hard to tell though, because they're like smart previews. But yeah, Capture One is, or Lightroom, in my personal opinion, is better for bulk editing, it seems like. Again, this is coming from someone who doesn't really know Capture One, but my time using it, it just felt like such a slow, nitpicky program that was specifically for, like, you know, just a couple of photos to make them like as good as possible, rather than being for like a bulk editing. Like, I love the way that Lightroom organizes its photos and just overall bulk edits. Whereas Capture One, just, it felt so slow. All the sliders were like so touchy. You like barely move them and they make like 50 years of changes. It was just too much. Have you tried Leica? No, I have never shot a Leica before. Don't compete with the Apple event. I mean, I'm trying to watch it. Big fan from Taiwan. Awesome. Hey, is your iPad 11 or 12? I have the 11 inch, and I am cool with that small little size. Thank you for that sub. Yeah, I think I feel like the smaller size makes more sense. But I have been questioning getting a bigger one. I've been drawing a little bit more, just messing around with it some. And a bigger size is definitely better for drawing, so. Maybe their display is warmer calibrated. Maybe. That's what I'm thinking. Because these photos are like, they were like way too warm. It seems too like when I put the editor in like a weird editing situation, when it's like not just the like easy, simple editing, they tend to have a harder time. Because the first couple of times I used them, the edits were great, and I was super happy with it. Much love from Mexico. Next year, I'll probably buy my first Fuji camera. Awesome. Love the X-T3 videos. Thank you so much. I know what you mean with Capture One. Whenever I use it to edit, I find myself buried in setting. Yeah, it just seems like it's a very, like, you get in there and you're like, okay. Whereas like Lightroom, I'm trying to be like, boom, 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 done. Sync all the photos. Cool, 50 photos, done. Next, boom, 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 and just like go. Like, if I was entering like a print contest or something at like WPPI, I would definitely do it in Capture One. Like, I would find my one banger shot and then edit it in Capture One and really like get in there. But other than that, like, I think Lightroom is great. Thank you for the sub. Do you use a drone? I do have one. I actually need to double check now that you bring it up. I shot some drone shots at this wedding, and I don't think I imported them at all. So let me actually make sure that I didn't delete all of my stuff. Where is my drone? Where is my drone? All right. I have one right there. Great job. Okay. What do you think of the A6400? I haven't used any Sony cameras, but I've heard they're pretty awesome. But yeah, I don't have any actual opinions on them since I've never used them. But yeah, I have a Mavic Air 2. I just got it a while ago. Pretty cool. If I was doing a print contest, I'd rent the biggest megapixel. Exactly. Yeah. Go get a GFX 100. Edit that thing in Capture One. Pixel peep all the way. Oh, I got sand in it. Yo, sand is the worst. Let's see if I deleted these people's photos by accident. Luckily, I didn't take any shots that were like, oh no. They were just kind of whatever. The Mavic 2 Pro, I have not. The Mavic Air 2 is my first ever drone. I've never owned a drone before that. Mainly because, like, I was like, you know, I'm never going to use a drone to take pictures. Even this one is like a toss-up. I only got it because now that I do more YouTube stuff. Because, like, I don't know. The cameras on these things aren't even that great. They really aren't. They're like, whoa, it shoots in 48 megapixels. It's kind of trash. It's like actually 12 megapixels that has been like rendered up or something. Like, it's not good. It's cool for, it's great for video. But photo, I don't know. I've been kind of like, yeah. Uh-oh, there goes my music again. Awesome. So here are my photos. And do I have this wedding on here? Weddings. Who is this? Sarah and Patrick? No subfolder. These photos, I don't even know if I'm gonna include these photos. Like, I might pick up the DJI Mini 2. Yo, that Mini 2 looks legit, and especially now that it does 4K 30 video, I feel like that's a great. I almost want to buy one for myself. What do you think of the Logitech Craft keyboard or the Loop Deck? So I have both. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that, but so I have the Craft. It's cool. I don't use it. And the Loop Deck is also really cool. I don't have one. I have a tour box. I use it, but mainly on video stuff because, like, I'm so used to the key commands already that I find myself just not going to the tour box. But if I would take the time to just sit down and really get it under my fingers, that thing would be awesome. Okay, where was I? Okay, so let's just warm these up a bit more. You didn't answer my question. I didn't see the question. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. How long are you into photography, and did you went to school for it? No, I did not go to school. I've been doing photography professionally now for about 7 years. Before then, I used to dabble with it, but I wouldn't consider myself a photographer or anything. I just kind of thought cameras were cool. That was about it. I went to school for music production and sound design. So the groom was a trucker. So him and his boys brought the trucks out. This was a Brenizer with the 50F1. Hey John, do you think the latest iPad, iPad Mini, not the Air or Pro, can use photo editing Lightroom? It probably can. I feel like it's not that heavy on the iPad. I could be wrong, but it feels like it's really not taxing the iPad that hard. So I think it'd be able to, but again, I've never really used one, so I always do 5 exposures with the 48 and merge them. Yeah, see, that would make more sense. Do like a Burnizer, basically. What's your business card design? It's pretty straightforward. It's basically just a picture on the back, which I have multiple pictures. So it's also a great way to show off my portfolio. So I'll just put a bunch of different pictures on the back. And then it's just basically text. My logo, my information, my Instagram. Very straightforward. Yo, Moo kind of messed up the last time. They printed my pictures like mad cool. Y'all can kind of see it in the thing. They're like way cooler than they should be. They should be much warmer than that. Not much warmer, but like enough. Is the 50-30 millimeter grins, is it a great lens? I have never used it. I'm sure it's probably fine, but yeah, I've never used it. I shoot majorly primes only. Most of the zoom lenses I don't really know much of anything about. iPad is a sleeper for editing. Yeah, it's such a good, I love using mine, and I have a setup. I just got to get it working so that I can like stream me editing on the iPad, because it really is good. Who prints your business cards? I do my cards through Moo. I'm a big fan of Moo's stuff. Oh, let's only do 5 stars. Let's sync these over. Do you only do color correction and exposure when editing wedding images, or do you deep dive into Photoshop? I only go into Photoshop if I need to get rid of something. So like healing type of, like healing tool stuff. And that's only if Lightroom can't handle it. Sometimes Lightroom just can't for some reason. It just really, it's like, nope, not gonna do the heal tool like it should be. So when that happens, I'll jump into Photoshop. But for the most part, again, with wedding photography, it's like a large amount of photos. I'm not trying to sit here, you know, for 50 years on every photo. +1 for Moo. Yeah, Moo is hands down the best. It's a little bit more pricey than some of the other options, but the quality shows through the price, so. They feel premium. Yeah, I agree. How do you reduce noise and low light? Well, the main way to reduce noise is to have light or to find the light. So obviously the better light you can get into the camera, the less noise you'll have. Obviously that starts getting harder as far as when you do stuff like if you need a lower shutter speed to let more light in, but then you can't hold the camera because you're going to get camera shake. It's stuff like that that makes it harder. But basically that's how, like, noise is just the camera not getting enough light. So you have to figure out how to get enough light. That's why, like, I'm not a big fan of, a lot of times we'll talk about cameras and how they, you know, perform in low light and how they perform with noise. But the real thing is what? The real thing is that you should be putting yourself in a position where you're giving your camera as much light as you can. Not being like, well, my camera has low noise no matter how dark it is. Just ramp the ISO. Like, you know, you're supposed to be trying to get low ISO if possible. And then the question is, how does your camera handle high ISO? So yeah, when you're in a situation where you're going to have noise, it's more so about how you're basically working the exposure triangle. Because like all these photos don't have a lot of noise because I'm shooting at like 320 ISO. It's like mad dark. It's like 7 o'clock. It was basically nighttime at that point. But I have these lights coming in the back, giving me light. And then I'm also trying to silhouette them a little bit. So I know my shutter was going to be low anyway. I'm at F1, letting as much as I can. So if that makes sense. I know it's like a longer explanation for a simple question, but I do feel like overall in this day and age of photography, we've gotten too harped up on like what the camera does and not enough about the photographer and how they understand it. Do you run discounts or sales on your wedding packages or profits? I don't usually. I do offer like some discounts and stuff. Like I'll do what I call a friends and family discount. So if a new couple comes to me and they're a friend of a couple I've worked with, I'll give them a little discount. So I'll do stuff like that, but for the most part, I don't ever do sales. Not on the actual sessions. If you do that too much, it kind of devalues your overall by just being like, hey, I'm giving it away. So be careful of that. But offering like an incentive is usually nice. And people do appreciate it. So I don't mind like helping people out a little bit. Shift. There you go. Is XT3 better with noise than the XT30? You know, I've never tried them next to each other, but they're basically the same sensors. I think they're a little different. Yo, why is it not? I feel like the exposure's not syncing over correctly. So weird. I have a budget only to get a lens. I'm getting into the realm of wedding photography. What should I get? If you don't have any lenses yet, I would go with something wide, not super wide, so like some kind of 35. Or if you're talking Fuji, like a 23. I feel like on a wedding day, a wider lens always, like, it's what I use most of the time. My tele lenses are nice, but they don't get used like that. What do you charge? So I start at $5,000, and that's like a full package. It's like an 8-hour day, second photographer, an album. It's like the whole thing. It's everything you could want for a wedding, basically. And I've been raising my prices over the years, so you know, it kind of goes up from there. All right. I'm feeling pretty good about this now. Let's go back and find those drone shots and see if they even... What up, J Biff from Virginia? Hello, what's up? Welcome. Is the XT3 a great upgrade from the 2? Yes. So I've owned the 2, the 3, and the 4. In my opinion, the 2 to the 3 was the biggest jump. The 3 to the 4, it was more like a refocusing of what the camera was trying to do. But the 2 to the 3 was just like a straight up, like, it got better. Yeah, these photos just don't look like... I just feel like the photos coming out of the drone look so bad. Like, my phone takes better photos. That's what it feels like. I don't know what's going on with my music. Also, these are like DNGs, so I can only do but so much with them. How many photos do you aim to give? So generally I'll quote average of 650. Now, most of the weddings y'all have been watching me stream recently have been smaller 6-hour weddings, you know, due to the current situation. So that's been a little different, but generally it's average of 650. And a lot of times I usually will give way more than that. Like close to 1,000 and stuff, so. Thank you for that sub. Yeah, I feel like the photos just don't look great coming out of the Mavic. They like have no dynamic range to them. And this is at 48 megapixel. This is also probably a smart preview. So I mean, it's not horrible, but they're kind of mush. Canon shooter everyone. Fuji is the best. I mean, you know, we all love our camera systems. I'm down for people just taking good photos. How you do it, I don't care. As long as we understand photography and we talk in the exposure triangle and you making good photos. That's all that matters. Cool, I think that's everything. Nothing is not edited. Yep, that's it. So I am going to try and do a bulk. We're just going to export the whole thing. Again, we'll see if my computer can handle it during the stream, because normally it can't. And then while that exports, I want to jump back into narrative select. We'll see how that works again. How did you find people who needed a photographer when you started? So I started out using not a program, an app, a service called Thumbtack. And that helped me because a lot of the people on Thumbtack were looking for cheaper deals. Back when I started with Thumbtack, it was a much cheaper service to use. So basically I would pay money to, hold on, my brain. I would pay money to be able to talk to clients. And then once you've talked to the client, if they're happy with you, they'll book you. And that's kind of how Thumbtack worked. I can show y'all in a second here. Sarah and Patrick. And we want JPEG 100%, no resizing, resolution 300. And then it will export this. We got screen sharpening, and we're going to go to exposure 6. And we'll see if the computer can keep the stream up and export. But yeah, let me see if I can, let's see what Thumbtack looks like now. It's been a while since I've been on there. Uh-oh, my thing might be doing that weird internet thing it was doing last time. I don't know why, because I never had this issue before, but all of a sudden it's like when I'm streaming, it can't do anything else but stream. It's weird. I don't know what happened. Oh well. If it decides to load, I'll show y'all. How many weddings do you have you done so far, and how many you have left? This year, I think, I want to say I did 10 to 15. I'm not sure. And then I have one more left, which is more of like a small reception because we did their ceremony already. Mavic set to raw DNG. It was. The photos just aren't. I don't know. They're just not. Hey, from Cyprus, we got Cyprus in the house. As a Fuji photographer, do you know what the differences are between RAW Fuji RAW files and DNG files? Well, DNG files is it's like a Adobe Lightroom file format or something. So RAW is actually what you're getting from the actual Fuji RAW file. Like that's what they are, the RAW files or RAF. Oh, I lost the chat. Yep, it's giving out on me again. I really don't understand. But the stream is fine, so that's cool. Further to the XT2 to XT3 question, what about the XH1 and XT3? So I've never used the XH1, so I'm actually not really sure. But in my opinion, again, I don't think IBIS makes that big of a difference for stills as much as it does for video. Like, it's nice, again, if you're in low light and you want to lower the shutter speed without getting camera shake, but like, especially if you're shooting people, you're not going to be putting your shutter that low. You just won't. It's going to be rare occasions where maybe if you do fashion photography or something and you're shooting like a single model and you can pose them and have them like wait and stop for you, that's like the only way that IBIS is going to really help in stills. If you're doing like events, you're going to have your shutter way higher. Let me see if I can get my chat back. Oh my goodness, this is the worst. It makes no sense. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. I feel like every time I fix one of my issues, I run into another one. Oh. This doesn't. Why? How? How can you be on the internet, but then also not be on the internet? Someone please tell me. This is stupid. The worst. Okay, we're gonna turn off the Wi-Fi. And now it's like, okay, we can't do nothing. But I'm on their internet because I'm obviously still streaming. Stream says it's good. But everything else is struggling. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go grab my iPad so at least I can see the chat. I want to at least be able to see this chat. Set my little station up. Let's jump in here. Y'all, I hate these are the days. I don't know if y'all can notice this natural light. These are the worst days. I'll be trying to record a video and I jump in here and it's just like one little cloud comes through and changes the whole exposure. Wow, it's like I stream in the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi itself just can't. It doesn't even make sense. Do 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 do. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Got my chat back. At least. Bandwidth. I should have it though. Also, Reggie's in the house. Y'all know Reggie. If you don't, you need to go follow him. I would post a link to his thing, but I can't. Bandwidth, maybe it's because I'm over here streaming at 1440p. Do you talk to reception halls to get their vendor list? Nah, I don't know. The whole vendor list thing is like, it's such a like, I don't know, I want to say like a cliquey kind of thing. At least what I found in North Carolina, it's just like only certain people get on the list, and it's like the people that the planners like, and if the planner doesn't like you, then you can't get on the list. And also, if y'all have ever listened to any of my stories about how I vet my couples, the way that the wedding industry finds its couples and likes its couples, I'm just not like that. Especially here in Raleigh, I don't vibe the same way that most vendors do down here, the way that they approach the funny thing I found between working up north in New York and then down south in North Carolina is that like the way people approach and perceive weddings is kind of different. And down south, they're just all like old Southern manners, and you know, there's all these things. It's like, oh, don't ever do it like this. Whoa. And I don't know. It's like, can we just have fun? Y'all are like so concerned about the process of the wedding that you can't even have a good time at your own wedding. So any of those couples, which half the time are on vendor lists with like the venues and stuff, I just don't vibe with them. So honestly, I just rather not be on a vendor list, like at all. There's no point in even wasting my time at talking to couples who aren't gonna vibe with me. And again, when you define your brand and make it very obvious, you show your work, the kind of couples who like you, there goes that cloud, there it is. But the kind of couples who will like you will gravitate towards you in a work like that. So a vendor list is cool, but on the same end, it's just like the chances for me getting my couples on a vendor list is going to be very small. So I just don't bother. What delivery service do you use? I use PickTime. PickTime is honestly my favorite, and they do really good with automating your print sales and stuff, which is what I like. Please suggest which wide lens angle for wedding stills. The 16 f1.4 is so good. I used it for the first time like last weekend or so, and I liked it a lot. I have the 16 2.8, and yeah, I might try and see if I can swap it out. We'll definitely do more research. Yeah, if you don't vibe, it's probably not going to show up. Yeah, and it's just like, to put all this effort into getting on a vendor list where the types of couples who go to that venue just aren't going to vibe with me, it's like such a waste of time. 23-year-old from India working as a candid photographer. Awesome. Welcome to the stream. Gonna buy an XT3. Suggest which lens I prefer first. I'm a big fan of prime lenses. I feel like prime lenses help you learn photography. I'd say get the 23 f2 or the 35 f2. They're a great price. They look good. They're small. They work well. Great to learn on. I hate this lighting, y'all. I'm hurting so bad. I ain't got no bandwidth. I'm probably getting throttled, honestly, because the other day I set up my NAS to do cloud backups, or NAS, my network attached. So my Synology is set up to do cloud backups now, and it had like 20 terabytes on it. So I'm sure Spectrum is like, what? What are you doing? $16 1.4, the 10 to 24 f4. Honestly, it depends. I'm more of a prime person. I love primes. But if you want a zoom and you like zooms, I'd say go that direction. What is the best platform to find new customers, get recognized by them in the US? It's hard to say. I was on the Knot for a while and it was pretty good. Nowadays, it's kind of hard. Honestly, in my opinion, it's stuff like Instagram. If you really know how to work Instagram, it makes a big difference. It really does. And you can do it for free. So, hey John, do you set your mind or eye actually for the detail photography in wedding? Like the shoes, the shirt, dress, ring, so on and so forth. I mean, I usually just I let my couples know that I want to take photos of the details, and that usually they want the detailed photos as well. So I just let them know to bring stuff with them. Like, I can show y'all some examples, actually. Let's see what I can find. So a wedding I did last year. If I can remember their names. I do so many weddings that I have a hard time remembering like whose was which. I think it was them. Yeah. So generally before a wedding, I tell my couples, I write a timeline, which I've talked about that before. Like, you need to be making your own timeline. Even if there is a planner, you need to be at least letting everyone know where you're going to be and what you're going to be doing, what you want to do, and how the day should run so that you're able to get the best photos. And then I'll usually tell my couples, like, hey, get your details together for the getting ready and the due details. So bring whatever you want to, like the rings, which I usually tell them to have the rings together. So like have the bride or the groom or whoever have the rings together. Have your shoes, have your dress, have your, your cologne or a watch. If you're wearing special socks, have the socks. Don't put them on your feet yet because they get nasty. So like this bride, she had so much stuff, invitations, this little stamp thing. She brought all this stuff, and I was like, dope. I wish I had a flat lay board to go along with it. That would have set it off a little bit better than the floor, but it still was good. How do you pick a second photographer? Ooh, that's a good question. Second photographers, mainly I try and find someone who understands what it really means to be a second. And I'll usually meet with someone first before I even have them as a second. Because this is the biggest thing, and I'm probably going to make a video about it. But if you're seconding only for your own experience and only to get photos, get away from me. You know, like, I need support. As a second photographer, you're supposed to support me, the main. So I need you to be on top of everything as much as possible. And also learn and take your own photos. That's what I expect from a second. So that should be first and foremost. Don't find a second only on the fact that, like, oh, they take good pictures. Because trust me, you can get burned too, because you'll see their website and their little portfolio, and it's great. But remember, when anyone is making a portfolio and curating a portfolio, you're showing your best work. You're showing your best situations. So you can, I've had it before where I've looked at a second site and they had banger shots, and then they come second for me, and it's just like, what is this? Like, what were you doing? I had a second not use a flash at all, like at all. So we got to reception time and she was just not using a flash. And I was like, that's great that you can high ISO and your camera looks okay. But no, like, what happened? So yeah, it's that kind of stuff. Like, I need you to support me more than take photos. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want and need first and foremost. The knot is not reliable anymore unless you're a low budget photographer. Ooh, yeah, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad how the knot has been going. But yeah, here's all the flat lay stuff I got. She brought so much stuff. I was like, yo, this is awesome. So I was able to really get in there and get those details. We got our friend from the Philippines. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hello. Hi. Hi. Hello. 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 Hi. Please stop spamming the chat. See how their work might integrate into your own. Yes. See, Reggie be dropping like that good knowledge. Again, if you haven't followed him, make sure to check him out. But again, so everyone always harps on like having the same camera system, and yes, it does make it a little bit easier to edit. But like Reggie was saying, like, I also look for a photographer who kind of frames their photos a little bit similar to mine as well, so that when I deliver my photos, it's not like clear as day, like, oh, this was not taken by John. This was definitely the second photographer. Like, I don't want that to happen. So that's another big thing. Like, find someone who shoots kind of similar to how you do, and someone who can take feedback as well. So if you're like, hey, shoot it like this, and then they don't, because that's happened to me a couple times. I've had seconds where I'm like, hey, shoot this like this, and then they don't shoot it like that. And I'm like, I was very specific. I was like, use a wide lens, shoot it symmetrical right here in the middle, do it. And I only do that at certain parts of the day, so it's just always hard when that happens. And I'm like, what happened? I gave you very specific. I can show you like a wedding where I had my favorite second. She also shoots Fujifilm, and we both frame things very similar. And like, it's just always so good. The photos are so good, and she supports heavily. Sometimes she doesn't even shoot, which I'm cool with because I don't need the photos. A second photographer is more so for support. How much can you ask for as a starting second photographer? I would say minimal amounts, maybe like 20, 25 an hour. But don't try to go in there like asking for all the money in the world. You know, like, you're new to, especially if you're just straight up new and you haven't done much of anything. Like, don't be like, hey, I need it all. Give it to me. I need all the money. Do you always have a second? I don't. Most of the time I shoot without a second. Like, the majority of the time I'm by myself. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, it is. So I had a second at this wedding. And we'll look at their... So like these first couple of shots, this is the second photographer. Ah! Go smaller! So she has the 23 f1.4, and she'll tend to just stay on that for the majority of the day until she needs wide shots, or I mean closer shots. She'll also shoot with just one camera. So yeah, for me, the second photographer is mainly support, and then they're just getting like adjacent shots to my own stuff. This was her as well. This was her. Like all these cool shots from different angles. And you know, it's hard to tell. Like if I just posted it, you'd be like, "Oh wow, great photos, John." And then this is back to me. So this is me again. Let's see. I watched your 50 f1 lens review. How would you compare with the 56 lens? Suggest people. The 50 has grown on me. At first, I was kind of like, I'm not sure, but after using it for a while now, I really love the 50. Obviously, it's heavier, but it lets in more light, and it looks so good. The like fall off on the photo is so good. Like I can't. A lot of people are, oh, it costs so much money. It's worth it, y'all. If you're a professional working photographer, and you're gonna be able to use, it's worth it. Trust me. Like, really, it's worth it. So yeah, I think I'm leaning more to preferring it over the 56. I haven't used my 56 now in like a month or so. So the 50's really stolen my heart. Where are the rest of my portraits? Oh yeah, this is that same first look stuff. When should you make a business website? I only have family shoots. I mean, you should make a business website first and foremost. Now, the biggest thing again is you need to show what you want to show and what you want to do. So if you don't want to do families, you need to find a way to stop shooting families and don't show it no more, because if you keep showing families, you will get families and you won't get other things. So like show what you want, but I think having a website is like, do it from the start as early as you can. How many weddings do you typically shoot a year? I'd say average is probably around 25 or 30. So 2018 I did 40. 2018 I did like 35 or 30. 2019 I did 40. And that's just weddings. That's not including engagement sessions and anything else. 2020 I did more like 15 or so. A lot were rescheduled. 2021, I think I'm already at about 25 or so. I'm trying not to take as many so that I can focus on YouTube more, because it's hard to make videos for YouTube and also have paying wedding clients where I have to, edit the photos and deliver the photos and do the wedding, and it's a lot. Look at there, y'all. There goes the export. Boom. So here's my whole thing. Now I'm in exposure. And at this point, I select all, put my sharpening and grain preset on it. And then I go and find my black and whites because they have a different sharpening and grain on it. And again, I mentioned this, but if anyone uses exposure or is interested in it, I think I might start selling my sharpening and grain presets for exposure, because I don't do my sharpening in Lightroom. Here goes some more black and white. So yeah, I'm just selecting the black and whites and putting my black and white grain and sharpening because it's different. I like my black and whites like super grainy, almost like film. So this was it before. This is after the grain and sharpening. And then once I've gotten all my black and whites, then I can save it. And then all the photos are done. Most primaries don't have seconds with zero experience, like Johnson. Yeah, yeah, it's very true. Like if I get a second, and I tell my couples this too, I want a second who, if for some reason I like just dropped dead at a wedding, God forbid, knock on wood. But you know what I'm saying? Like I want my second to be able to pick it up and be fine with it. So like the main person I use as a second, I know I can trust her. I've seen her do her own weddings. You know what I mean? I know that we shoot very similar. I know that she could handle it and it would be fine. And that's the thing too. If you're like very new, if you're like super new to being a second or just doing weddings, you need to be like a third photographer. And you should approach photographers like that. Because especially nowadays, we want people who are going to be able to support us at a wedding and give us the things we need. Not photo. We don't need pictures. We can take pictures. We need someone to support the wedding and maybe take a couple extra pictures on the side. So if you're totally new, you need to be like a third photographer. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like take no pay and be like, hey, I'll be an assistant / third photographer, carry your bags and maybe take a couple shots if you're cool with that and just like ask you questions while you do your day. Do that for a little bit and then you can become a second. Because yeah, when you're a second, you're basically like almost shooting the wedding. You need to be used to it at that point. No longer are the days of, you know, oh, I just picked up a camera. Can I second for you? Like, I'm sorry. I need someone who can do more than that. What do you do as a photographer if you have to cancel a scheduled wedding? So there's a couple of ways that you can handle it. But in my contract, I have like a clause for, I think it's like 60 days. So you have to cancel your wedding before 60 days. Because I basically lose a whole wedding date because you canceled. Also, the deposit's non-refundable. Because again, I lose a whole date. So I like just lose money. Obviously, the way I've been handling stuff during COVID has been very different. Because, you know, it's a bad situation for everyone. So I don't want to just leave my couples out there just like, you know, oh, the venue screwed us over and someone else screwed us over and now our photographer's like, sorry, bro. So, you know, I let people cancel. I've been given full refunds. It's been kind of hard on me, obviously, but I feel like it's best for my clients. And again, what's best for your clients will show through further than you sticking to like the 100% perfect business plan. You know, you treat your people right and they will remember it and they'll tell their friends about it. What phone provider? And so I'm on AT&T, but that has nothing to do with my my internet at home. And also you don't need the internet to use Lightroom at all. Let's go back to culling now. Let me see if I can remember my sign in. That's super good about being a third. Yeah, if you're brand spanking new, like even offer that to photographers you want to work with, to be an assistant or a third or something. Someone who doesn't have to do much or can just carry lights or set up lights. Oh, I don't remember my password. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Cool. Okay, this is my second time using this, so let's see. So we create a project, and hold on, let's... Okay. So we create a project. Who is this again? Serenity and Jeremy. Serenity. Did I spell that right? Serenity? How do you spell it? How do you spell? Serenity and Jeremy. Boom. I like the picture for ingest. It was just like I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh. So we want to link a source. Weddings. And where are you? Are y'all even in here? Did I do this right? No, I don't even know where they are. Where are these photos living? Show parent folder. Video drive. Is this the same stuff? Video drive, photos, 2020, weddings, Serenity and Jeremy, yay! Great job. I spelled it wrong. It's okay. What photo culling programs are you using? So this is Narrative Select. It is a beta program. It is brand spanking new. But the cool thing about it is that it has AI that will detect people's faces, and it'll detect if their faces are in focus or not. There it goes. So you see it's showing me the two faces that it sees, and it's telling me that the eyes are open enough and he's a little bit out of focus. So when it's clear like this, that means it's a good photo. It's sharp and his eyes are open. But if people's eyes are kind of closed, you'll start getting like yellow and stuff. I don't have an example anywhere. Oh yeah, see yellow there because their eyes aren't totally open. So yeah, it's a cool program. It's great for family photo shots. It's pretty cool. It's Mac only currently. Okay. Let's call this thing. And while that's going, I want to pull this back up so at least I know. So this stuff is all with the 50 f1. Again, like I said, this lens has captured my heart forever. I like this one better. Yeah, 50 f1 performs, y'all. So here comes the first look. Picture style portrait? I don't understand the question. We got Romania in the house. Hello, welcome. What program is this? This is Narrative Select. It is in beta currently. So for the first look, I usually shoot wide. Is this the 23? Yeah, this is all the fastest lenses. So I loaned out the fastest lenses from Fuji. So I have the 23-1.4, the 16-1.4, the 35-1.4, the 50-1. Narrative select. Yes, that is correct. So I usually start my first look with this wide shot of the bride approaching. We don't need too many photos of this. And then I'll immediately swap over to the 50. You can tell my cameras are not in sync. How lovely. I might outsource this wedding too, I think. We'll see though. So yeah, this program is definitely slower than Photo Mechanic. And like, obviously, because it has to like, it has to recognize all the faces, which I can turn this off for now. If I remember how to. But all of its like additional features is kind of like the point of the program. Yeah, my cameras are totally off. So annoying. Yeah, so here's the perspective of the first look from my close. Well, we're almost about this Apple live stream. We got Serbia in the house. You're really persuading me to grab the 50 f1 over the f2. I've never used narrative select. How is it different from Photo Mechanic? The biggest thing is this whole facial expression automated like AI where it tells you if the faces are in focus and if the eyes are closed. It's great for family shots because it'll literally find every face in the scene. And that's the biggest difference really. Other than that, it's basically the same thing. Do you use manual or automatic focus? I autofocus, but I don't use continuous autofocus. I focus myself. So I put the focus square where I want it to be. Who do you outsource to? I've been using the Image Salon. I was talking about that at the beginning of the stream. They kind of messed up the last one I did. Yeah, this is much slower than, and I'm exporting photos at the same time, so, but it feels much slower than Photo Mechanic. $50 f1, so good. Let me see if it, yeah, so you see how here the line is yellow because her eyes aren't fully open, but then we go to the next one and it's all clear. Getting a lot of useful information. And shout out to Reggie. Shout out to Reggie. They sent a Fuji assassins. I mean, I've been overly biased for Fujifilm since the get, so it doesn't really change too much now that I'm a Fuji X photographer. Like, I was already so heavy Fuji anyway. So yeah, with this shot, when I do these like close-up detail shots, I always like to kind of have the mouth in there too. So I 5-starred this one earlier, but I don't know, it doesn't work as well in my opinion as this one. It just makes it feel like less of like, here's a random necklace. Yeah, I wonder if it's so slow because I'm exporting photos at the same time. I've used the 50F2. Is it worth getting a 50F1? Well, yeah, if you like a blown out background and you want to be able to let in like a whole bunch of light, yeah, the 50F1 is awesome. I've used the 50F2 as well, and I really love the size of it. But again, I'm more of a fan of, you know, small little Fuji lenses. But at that focal length, the F2, I don't know, like I wanted more background blur. So the F2 at 50 was kind of, it didn't do it for me. 50F1 is overkill for most shooters. Yeah, again, if you're not shooting professionally, like the 56 is great. John, have you ever done concert photography? I shot for a band like once. And I wasn't overall happy with the whole, like, everything I got out of it. Yeah, yo, what is the 23? Maybe I just, because this is the 1.4. Maybe that was just me. I suck, y'all. I miss focus. I'm the worst. Yep, this is the 50F1 again. $50 mil equivalent. I'm not familiar with the Canon crop lineup. Yeah, 30 something 35. So I'm kind of culling heavy, but again, while I edit, I can cull out stuff, and I don't mind that, so. Yeah, this program is so good. I really enjoy the fact that it's telling me when their eyes are open. Because it'll make me notice that, like, one of the shots I picked maybe wasn't the greatest as far as their facial expressions, where, like, I won't really notice that when I just cull. Picture style and tips. So my exposure, it's still exporting these photos. My computer's actually, it's holding out. Exporting photos, culling photos, streaming at the same time. They're not too shabby. This was a picture that they had taken in the past and they wanted to recreate it. So again, even if something falls kind of outside of your own style, like don't be afraid to do something that's like, you know, like they're gonna enjoy these photos. It's for them. I'm not gonna show it in my portfolio, and that's fine. Because, you know, you should be showing what you want to shoot, but again, don't be so stuck on only shooting a certain way that, you know, if a client has a, you know, a little recommendation or want for a shot, that you won't do it, because that's just getting stingy at that point. And now it's ceremony time. I went to go check on her in her bridal suite, and she was just kind of sitting on the floor. I thought it looked kind of cool, so took a couple shots. And now here are the details. This is the 50 again. Look at it, man. I don't. Everyone's always like, "Oh, the 50 is soft." I don't know, bro. Oops, what'd I do? You know, at f1, I don't know, like, maybe it's not the sharpest lens, but for f1, like, it's good. How do you sync your cameras? Basically just setting the times the same. I need to resync them because I think they're off. Any free photo editing software that you recommend? I don't know of any free ones, actually. I feel like all of them you gotta pay for something. Love your work. Thank you. What are your best tips for getting the focus right? The biggest thing, and I've talked about it before, is not using continuous autofocus. I feel like when your camera's continually trying to find the focus, you can end up missing focus. If you're new to photography, I would honestly start practicing the whole focus and reframe technique, where you focus where the square is and then reframe if you need to. Cause like I find that to be efficient when needed. That was me checking light. Here is first look with dad. I used flash on these, which you can tell because you can see me right there in the mirror. Have you ever strapped a GoPro to your head and shot wedding BTS? What? Have you watched my videos? I haven't strapped it to my head, but yeah, I have a whole bunch of wedding BTS videos. That's what I mainly do. That's almost the whole channel, really. I have a full wedding day. It's like an hour long video. So it's not on my head, but it's definitely some GoPro footage and stuff. You should definitely check it out. Head over to the channel. You should be able to find it pretty easily. Would you argue against continued focusing when the subject is moving? Yep, I would. I don't like continuous autofocus. I just think it's depending on the camera too much. Like, the only time when a subject is moving and you need continuous is if they're coming to you or going away from you. When they're moving side to side, especially if it's pretty much in a straight line, like, you can pretty much focus and refocus and go on. And what I generally tend to do is I just, the half press. So, like, while I'm shooting, instead of just, like, holding it and, like, shooting while I'm going, I, like, am continually refocusing more. Because I don't need every shot. I don't need to sit there and be like, it's too much. So I'll be like, refocus, refocus, like, and just go that way. So I have my square on them and I'm following. yeah, I'm not a fan of continuous autofocus. And it's not that like I don't like to use it, but in cases where you know where you want to put the focus and stuff like that, it just doesn't totally make sense to me to always be in continuous autofocus. Like, why even make the camera work that hard? It's kind of the same way I feel about zoom lenses, which again, you know, to each their own. There's nothing wrong with using different ways of stuff, but like with a zoom lens, instead of you having to like move into the scene with the scene and frame it the way you want to, you're just standing there like zoom, 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 zoom. So it's the same thing with also continuous autofocus and how you're framing your shots. A lot of times people won't even frame the shot. They'll just be like, I kind of want it to look like this, and then the focus is just like, and they're like, great. Rather than you really being like, okay, I know I want my focus here, and let me move it and keep it there, you know, rather than just being like, just having it and just, if that makes sense. So how long after the ceremony do you deliver photos? I try to do it within 4 weeks. I quote my couples 4 to 8 weeks. 8 weeks, again, is just the safe zone. So speaking of continuous autofocus, this section, this is continuous autofocus. And this is what I was talking about. So I'm using the 50 f1. I'm in zone autofocus, so the bigger square with the squares in it. I don't like it to take up the whole frame, again, because I don't like to depend on continuous autofocus only. So I have the small square that's big enough that I can place it where I want my focus and keep it there. And then continuous autofocus only in that area. So I have my square that's pretty much as big as this couple is. It's like just as big as they are. And I use back button autofocus. And then while they walk in, I'm able to take the shots. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on with my internet again. Oh, you know what? Yeah, this is probably what it is. And this, let's try this out. Do 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 do. Nope, that didn't help me. Interesting. Y'all getting all the questions answered today. You got me and Reggie in here. Check this thing out. So now that I know that people are just walking towards me, I can just use the kind of AI face detection on the side there for the shots. So good. Oh wait, let me get that one instead. But yeah, the autofocus is definitely much better on the 50 than the 56. Oh, this lighting was the worst. At least there was shade when they got close. How many shots on average do you get on an 8-hour wedding day? I'm generally, on average, I feel like I come back from a wedding day between my two cameras and I'm like at 5K. Yeah, like 3 to 5K shots. Yeah, shoot around 2 to 4. Yep. And deliver around like 600 to 800 or so. Hey John, please scroll up a little bit. Oh, there's a lot of, I know there's a lot of chatter and questions. So if I miss your question, I'm sorry. The best way to get it in there obviously is with a super chat, because then it stays in the thing. So y'all don't have to do super chats, but I try my best to get the questions. If anything, you know, ask it again, but I will try my best. Also, talking about a live reaction to the Apple thing, I can't even do that because I can't get on the internet for whatever reasons. I don't understand. I don't understand how streaming can stop my Wi-Fi. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm also Etherneted into my thing. So there's definitely something weird going on. Definitely something weird going on. Do you recommend any beginner photography courses? I don't know of any offhand that I can think of. So how many photos can a shutter take? I'm actually not sure, because I feel like that number can change depending on the camera, and I feel like there's a lot of situations that go into that. So I shot this wedding by myself, so this is me getting people walking in and also getting the groom's reaction. How can I do this with the face on the right? This is the program called Select, or Narrative Select. So it's doing that itself. It has the it's what is pulling in the faces like that through AI, basically. Yep, this thing's hating. This thing is hating. Yeah, when the program has to find all the faces, it's much slower than Photo Mechanic. Yeah, 50 F1 over here performing. So here goes his reaction. So I was able to catch that and also get shots of her walking in. These are the winning shots. You want these. All the way in the fields. I didn't realize I took something. Oh, there goes the man tier, as I call it. The one little single man tier Monday. Is that program on Windows? It is not. It is only for Mac OS currently. 56 or 50 F2. So between the 56.12 and the 50 F2, I would definitely say 56.12, hands down. No question. 52 is nice if you want something small and if you need to do video stuff. But other than that, I wasn't a fan of the 52 or the 50 F2. Over here hating on myself. I still need to just download all these songs so that I don't even have to deal with losing my music at all. Let me see if I can actually get back to my live stream view. Since this thing is hating, can't even do anything on the internet. There we go. There we go. Is the XT3 good for portraits? I believe so. Half the time, it's I don't know. I feel like it's less about the camera and more about the lenses you're using and how you're using it again. I think a lot of times nowadays we focus too much on the cameras. We're like, what about this camera and that camera and this camera? It's a camera. It has a sensor. It has a shutter. The shutter opens. It lets in light. You expose the scene. You take a picture. So most of the time, like, I don't know. You have to find the camera that works for you and that you like using, that feels right to you. And then outside of that, nitpicking cameras, I think, is starting to get a little bit, is too much. You know, if a camera is good for action, it's probably fine for portraits because action is harder, but portraits, no one's moving. You know, so it's more up to lenses and stuff like that. So here's the ceremony, and generally I'm just taking very straightforward shots. Ceremonies are very straightforward. Take some wides, take some closes, wait for reactions, so make sure you're listening to the ceremony. So when someone laughs or something, you'll hear, you know it's gonna come. Get pictures of whoever's talking. With the latest update, it's just as fast as the XT4. Yeah, I haven't updated my XT3s yet, but yeah, less about the camera, more about the person using it. See, me and Reggie, we're on the same page. That's why I like Reggie. Reggie's cool, guys. Again, if you don't follow him, you need to get up on that. You need to get in there. Especially his Instagram, because he be dropping all the knowledge all day. So there goes some shots from the side, which I'll usually do as well. This is a Brenizer. which I'll usually throw those in there in the ceremony real quick. And that was supposed to be it, but I don't know what this is. Narrative select is like, I don't understand. Another big tick for ceremonies too is like, try not to overshoot. Because it's easy to just be like, snap, 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 snap. There's nothing happening. They're just standing there. It's fine. It just turns into like more to cull. And even like I tend to shoot a little bit too much at ceremonies. So like really just take your time. So this was all with the 23 f1.4. And there's my stop and kiss, which I usually do at pretty much every wedding at this point. It's usually a cool little shot. And all the guests always love to see it too. They're always like, ah, they're kissing for ah. Look at everyone's faces. Ah, yeah. So yeah, it's nice. I usually use the 5 rule. If I can't afford 5 lenses like that, I'm not buying it. Oh, nice. That's a good rule. I like that. There's shots as they leave, which they were okay. So here's an example of paying attention to your surroundings and stuff. So they have this little sheet here, or this, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's there and it's blocking the area to the back, but it opens up a little bit, and I was noticing it the whole time. So you'll see after I end up doing this stuff where they do like a little toast and things, I go back there to stage a shoot because I just really thought it would be a cool shot. Uh-oh. Distill. Oh, I forgot about that. Yo. So narrative select, they added a new thing where it'll cull it for you. I'm kind of scared, but I also want to try it. What do y'all think? A curtain? Yes, that's probably the better name. Let me know in the chat. Should I try out this AI culling and just let it do it for me? Eye focus and expression factors. I kind of don't want to do it on this wedding. I'm so scared. I feel like it's gonna ruin my whole call. Like this whole 40 minutes of calling is gonna go down the drain. Take a risk for us. Everyone wants it. Oh, we have one person in here with, yo, why is it so dark? What is going on today? Let's do it. We're gonna do it. Try it out. Ah! Okay, let's see. There's options. Reject fewer images. Apply red color rating. See, I don't like culling in the sense of rejecting. Oh, look at Reggie with the super chat. Thanks, man. Gonna head out. Remember, y'all, learn how to use Lightroom and compose photos. Oh, use light and compose your photos. Yes, exactly. And that is the point. First and foremost. Hold on. Let me get my mouse and keyboard. Let's make sure to give Reggie a proper shout out. Proper shout out. Do. It's always so hard on mobile. I'm always like, how do I share? There we go. There we go. That's Reggie there. If you haven't checked him out, he's awesome. He's also a Fujifilm ex-photographer. Definitely check him out. Definitely check him out. One of these days we'll have some joint videos on YouTube. Okay, so low strength, reject fewer images. Apply red color rating to rejected images. Hide images with label using. Apply 1 star. See, I don't like culling in the mentality of getting rid of. I like culling in the mentality of getting the good. And I feel like everyone culls with this mentality of getting rid of, like, rejecting photos. I feel like it takes longer. That's what I talk about, the whole yes method of culling. It's focusing on what you want. It's easier to grab what you want and what you like than it is to try and decide what you don't like. But we'll do it. 8%, 134 of 1,700 will be rejected. Let's see. Distill. I'm so scared. I'm scared. Oh, it's just going to mark them as red. Distill complete. Great. Let's go back to the grid and see what it did. I mean, it's cool, I guess. I wish it would go through and like 5-star the things for me. That would be so useful. Okay, hold on. Let me adjust my exposure and watch the cloud go away the moment I do it. It's gonna be like, oh, word, you're adjusting your exposure? Sorry. Gotta turn my lights on. There we go. There we go. Ta-da! Reggie videos are great. Yeah, he's awesome. All right. Let's keep culling. See, like, it rejected all those photos. Here's the first kiss. Boom. I usually high shutter for the first kiss and just let it roll. Obviously, I don't need all these photos, but I'd rather have like every single photo just in case. So I'm using flash at this point. So these are photos of me just checking. This was immediately after they got married. So just fun reactions and stuff. A little bit overexposed, but it's fine. This stuff is savable. What computer are you editing on? It is a custom-made PC with Mac OS loaded on it, so a Hackintosh. Right now I'm on Mac OS but it also dual boots between windows as well. Man, everyone's cheering. She was waiting. She was waiting for that drink. She's like, give it to me now. Probably an iMac? Nope, not at all. Hackintosh life. I wish I could show y'all. So I'm using a Corsair case, so it's under my computer. How much did your computer build cost? I want to say it's pretty pricey. So I have 128 gigs of RAM. I have a Radeon 7. I have a i9 9900K, so Intel, because it's easier to Hackintosh. Yeah, I want to say at least close to 2,000. But yeah, the core, it's like I'm using like a mid tower. It's almost time for this apple, so I'm about to hop off in a minute. I would show my reactions to the stream, but I can't stream while I'm streaming. I don't know what's wrong with my internet. It might be OBS. I gotta check it out because I don't know. I gotta figure out what's happening. This wasn't the case before, so I don't know what changed. So they did a quick toast. They took off it like, look at that. Look at that. This is the whole point of narrative select, really. This is where it shines. Do you ever still get nervous or anxious at all before shooting or meeting a new client? I do get a little nervous sometimes at some weddings, but it's mainly just depending on if I know what's happening or not. But for the most part, no, I'm usually good to go. I've talked about this before, but I majored in music production. I play saxophone. Used to play a bit of jazz, so improvisation is like a big thing in that. Yep, see, here goes the cloud letting up and you overexposed everything. But so improvisation is like a way of life to me. I'm a fairly big risk taker, and the way I like to think about it is when you improvise on a jazz tune, you know the chord progression at least, and you've practiced your scales, so you know what you're doing. You know how well you play. And then when you start improvising, you kind of just fit in between that. So it's the same thing when I do photo sessions or anything. Like, I know that I'm a good photographer. I know how to take pictures and things like that. So I'm not as worried when I go into a new session. I just kind of perform the best I can within the chord changes, if that makes sense. Is Hackintosh still a really complicated experience like it was 5 years ago? It's not, actually. It is super easy. I built one recently and I made a video about it, but my wife uses it mainly. It was so easy. The only thing that ended up making it hard was I ran into like some weird little thing with some of my parts. So choosing the right parts is probably the hardest part. But if you're using open core, it is so easy. I was actually kind of surprised at how easy it was. What is this program? This is called Narrative Select. It's in beta right now, and I think anyone can pick the beta up. I might have a link somewhere, actually. Yeah, I do have a link. I'm pretty sure it's just free right now because it's a beta, so y'all can check it out there. It's Mac only, though. So these were the family photos. We did these real quick. At this point, it was like the end of the day, and we were losing light. So I had to take these as quick as possible. So that we could still do couple portraits and things. Yeah, so this is the shot I was talking about. So I went back and got this because I was like, oh, it's going to be so good. Oh, yeah, I didn't even look at this wide one. I totally forgot about it. This is 50 f1. The other ones were with the 23, I think. That right there, that lip separation, money shot. But yeah, even if you're trying to be a candid photographer, like, don't be scared to stage a shot. Like, and you can stage a shot without making it posy. Like, you really can. My heart went to Fuji after that. Yeah, I used to shoot Canon before Fuji, and like the moment I touched the Fuji, I was like, what is this? I need it. Sold all my gear like immediately. Didn't I tell y'all what would happen? That I would adjust my exposure and then the cloud would go away. These clouds hate me. On days when I be trying to like record videos for YouTube, it's the worst. I'm just like, can I just get like a clear day or a cloudy day? Just one, please. Here goes some detail shots real quick while I had the time for it. And you can see now, like, I'm losing the light. It was like, I was like, we need to take these photos right now. If we don't take them, I will have no more light. So I'm working with the 50 f1. Yeah, my ISO is at 800. I'm like as wide open as I can be for group shots. So I'm down at 1.8 because I just wanted to make sure I still got everyone in the group sharp. Oh, these are the worst. So I added flash to it to try and front light them a little bit. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Have you ever shot on auto? No, but I did used to shoot in aperture priority when I first started. When you first start photography, and especially when you're like still kind of new to photography and trying to do wedding photography, it's hard to keep up with the day of the wedding and everything happening, and also your camera set. It's a lot when you first start. So aperture priority was a nice way where I didn't have to think about my settings too much, but I did kind of know a little bit of what I was doing with my settings. But yeah, eventually, every now and then, the camera would do really weird things that just didn't work out for the exposure I wanted, and that's how I switched over to shooting manual. Do you recommend using Viltrox? I haven't used any Viltrox lenses ever, so I can't really recommend it. I wish I could, but I'm sorry, I've never used them. Cool, we called it. Ta-da! Okay, so last time we're supposed to ship it to Lightroom. But see, that's trying to, let me see if, so last time I think this didn't work because I had my photos on a drive that wasn't read and write. But this time I should be able to select everything and then read the metadata. And it should, yeah, there it goes. So it's gonna pull the metadata from the files now that came from narrative select. And also my other stuff just finished exporting from exposure. So while that's happening, I'll show y'all one last thing I like to do to my photos. So I use JPEG Mini. I don't know if y'all use that. Yeah, it's perfect timing. I'm gonna jump into this Apple stream in just a second. But with JPEG Mini, it makes your photos smaller. Uh-oh, okay. So I'm gonna go find my photos from that last wedding that I exported, which was Sarah and Patrick. And I'm just gonna throw the whole folder on here. And so now it's gonna take the JPEGs and make them smaller, but keep the quality. And if y'all don't use JPEG Mini, this is worth it too, at least to save yourself some hard drive space. Because it really makes a pretty big difference. Let's see how much space I end up saving from that whole wedding, which was about like 400 some photos. Can I second shoot for you? Obviously, like I said, again, we'll have the meet and stuff, and I need the wedding. That's the biggest thing. I tend to shoot by myself, so a lot of times I don't even have the weddings to need a second anyway. You still have a Squarespace discount? Yes, I do. I think the code is JBIV Photos. When you sign out Squarespace, you get 10% off. Fujifilm is not good at highlights. I usually don't use dynamic range 400. I keep it just at auto or 100, and it's usually fine for me. I personally haven't seen any issues with it. My computer's doing so much right now. Computer's like, why? Why you got me doing so many things at the same time? Let me see if I can pull up this Apple stream somewhere so I don't miss it. I want to at least catch the beginning of it. Here we go.
Starting with upgrades to our powerful operating systems, as well as our other remarkable products. The incredibly capable.
Oh, that's right. Is Big Sur coming out soon? Where's Big Sur at? I wish my internet was working like normally. That would help out a bit. I'm just trying to see what they're gonna drop. Let me try and get back in my chat again. I can't see what y'all are saying. This is the worst. Uh-oh. They're about to start dropping some Mac stuff. Anyone else watching the Apple stream? What is the highest ISO you've shot at? I don't like going above 2000. So honestly, I've shot at 2000 and that's the highest. I don't go over that at all. Do you set your exposure and shutter manually? Yes, I do. All that stuff is all manual. I'm gonna make a video at some point talking about my kind of approach to how I get exposure during the day. But look at this. Look at how much space I'm saving. I'm already up to nearly 2 gigs of saved space on those JPEGs. For how long do you keep your RAW files? I have not deleted any RAW files, but generally I'll keep them for about 2 years. Definitely at least one, because I like to wait long enough. Like, if for some reason a couple comes back to me later, and they're like, hey, do you have any additional photos? I like to keep all the RAW so I can at least go back through and look for something. Whereas if I only keep the JPEGs, that's all I have. So I'll keep the RAWs at least for a year or two before I remove them. Like, I need to go back and get rid of my, like, 2017, 18 RAW files at this point. How do you have multiple people in focus? Every time I have people standing too far apart. Well, that's the problem. They have to, you can't have people standing far apart. That's kind of how focus is. It's like a line within a 3D plane. Just the same way as my hand's out of focus from my face. Whereas if I bring it here, it's in focus with my face because the camera's focusing on my face. So it's kind of like that. You can't have someone standing here and someone behind them and expect both of them to be in focus unless you stop way down. So you need to, especially if you're doing group shots, you need to keep them as close as possible. Uh-oh, are they about to do silicon? New Mac, Apple Silicon? The new format for you. I do like the new format of these instead of just them on a stage. Because also, too, sometimes they, like, announce things and people are just kind of like, hooray. You know? Like, and you're like, oh. They're about to do it. Also, when is Big Sur dropping? Look, yo, I almost saved, like, 8 gig. Look at this. Look at this space I'm saving. Get on. If y'all don't use JPEG Mini, look at it. I just saved 8 gigs. Where do you back up all of your RAW photos in comparison to the photos you edited? Yeah, so my JPEGs, I have them on their own external hard drive, which is being backed up to, I'm getting distracted by the stream, but it's being backed up to Backblaze. Then my RAWs, I have a NAS for archiving, and I keep that stuff there. I also have another backup drive that has the RAWs on it as well, but the backup drive gets deleted more so than a NAS does. The M1 chip! Ah! What's the M stand for? Mac? The Mac 1 silicon chip. Great job, JPEG Mini. Thank you. Do you recommend editing via phone as an alternative? I mean, it works. I use my iPad to edit sometimes, and I absolutely love it. So you see, this is still reading through all the photos, but now it's getting all my 5 stars together. So it looks like I'm at 300 now, and it's not fully done. So I'm probably going to be somewhere around 4. Yeah. Maybe 340 photos or so. But for group shots, there's only so much you can do. So what do you mean by stop down? Yeah, stopping down means your aperture. So if you're shooting a lens that's like f1, that's a very shallow depth of field. That's what they mean. Like, the area that's going to be in focus is very thin. So if you stop down to 2.8, that area gets wider, and it keeps getting wider and wider. Your Wi-Fi is back. Quality is back. It's looking good. I still can't get on the internet, though. Actually, am I still connected to my phone? I'm not. Yeah, it's weird. The stream is fine, but I can't get on the internet. There it goes. 328 photos. I called it, y'all. I did it. Hooray. Hooray. Yeah, and then from here, I'll go back and recull it down and edit it and stuff. So yeah, y'all got to hang out. This was good. This was a long little. Got a lot of hangout time. But that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna head out and watch this Apple stream, see what they're talking about with the Apple Silicon, and yeah, look at the clouds just hating on me. But thanks again for hanging out. I hope I answered y'all's questions. Thanks again so much, and it's always fun. Again, I still want to try and get a schedule for this stuff, but I don't have one yet. So I will catch you all next time, though. All right. Peace.